I haven't made a video in a long time, but here we are. I'm going to be talking about the master rule changes, or as I should be saying more accurately, what I think the master rules should change into. So, to start things off, we have the master rules. These are the rules we've been playing with since the 2008 starter deck, back in the 5Ds era. However, the rules updated every time a new starter deck came out for a whole new anime slash I guess, era of the game. So we have Master Rules 2, which came out with the starter deck 2011, which would be the XC deck. Uh, Honestly, I kind of forgot the name, but I think it's just called Starter Deck 2011, which introduced, of course, Hope. I call him Hope as Utopia, but. And then we have Master Rule 3. Came into effect in the OCG with the release of Starter Deck 2014, which is, of course, the Pendulum stuff, Arc V, and then we have the newest Master Rules, which is new Master Rules. I misspoke, sorry. And then we have new Master Rules. This was for the whole Link era stuff, aka Master Rule 4. But then we have Master Rule 5, which is Master Rule 2020/2021. These Master Rules are what we're currently playing under right now. However, people have speculated, are we due for a new Master Rule? Technically, it's been, what, 4-5 years since we've had these Master Rules? And usually, an era of Yu-Gi-Oh! Only lasts about, what, 4 years? 3 years? It's usually until a whole anime ends. So with that all laid out, what I want to propose for Master Rule 6, and I would hope this would be the final Master Rule, the only couple of changes would actually be for Link monsters and Pendulum monsters. The most hated summoning mechanics in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's because I don't think we should complicate this game anymore. Alright, I think the limits we have are kind of fine. 15 card extra deck, summoning to any zone, including the extra monster zone, I think those are all fine. Especially for a Synchro deck or Exceed deck, you can summon to those zones, but since we also share the game with Link monsters, I don't think we could do, I don't think we could undo said damage, right? So here's an example of what I'm talking about, slash what I mean. Had we had no Link era, I would say if you look at the dual field, moving the pendulum zones to each side of the spell and trap card would make a lot of sense. And it also just cleans things up, but we wouldn't have the two main zones there. I was going to propose that unless you use a Link base deck, you get a zone, or you get access to both zones. But that seems unfair to the opponent. So imagine if I sat down playing, let's say, a Synchro-based deck, and my opponent was playing, let's say, Code Talker, pure Code Talker, and I only had 5 zones, but he had technically 7 zones, 5 monster, 2 was it EMZ? Extra monster zone. That would be unfair. And he would have a boon because he played Link monsters. But I think keeping the extra monster zone on the mat, or was it the play zone? I don't know. Well, I'm going to say mat. On the mat makes more sense, right? Because now I can summon a extra Synchro monster to that EMZ zone. And he also gets that extra monster as well. Also, I like the theming that they've always had, or always try to convey, and that is a mirror mat. Was it the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Mat had this theming as well? It's where they like to make paper playmats and then squish them together, so it's kind of like one big dual playmat. And I think aesthetically, at least, the EMZ helps make it feel like, oh, I'm putting my mat, closer with your mat. It's such a small detail, but that is literally almost it. there is one last thing that I do want to talk about. That'd be ritual monsters. But just to finish up the Link and Pendulum stuff, um, when you summon out a Pendulum monster, you would no longer have to make sure you have a Link monster. And this basically would put Pendulums, kinda, back in the era of their prime, which is where all the Pendulums just want to hit the extra deck and then you summon out a bunch of them onto the field. Now, when Arc V was airing during the Pendulum era, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was so fast-paced, it was mind-blowing. But Pendulums were, I would say, at the same speed of the meta decks when it came to summoning out monsters. That's why Pepe really broke the format. But yeah, Pendulums were, I would say, at the same speed of like the meta decks when it came to fastness. And then one format / two formats later, Pendulums were left in the dust, especially because they released a lot of anti-Pendulum support. So cards like Pendulum Hole, and then they just banned a bunch of like the good Pendulum monsters, basically. Along with that, Twin Twisters was a card at the time. People were like, "Oh, Twin Twisters pretty good, right?" So even casually, I think what Twin Twisters was $10 or $5 at the time. But that was just like asking for the Pendulum monsters to just be destroyed. So that's how it was back then. I think if we bring Pendulums back to that, I don't think they're going to be meta. I just think the people who like Pendulums will be able to actually play Pendulums without it hindering everybody else. And currently Yu-Gi-Oh's going really crazy. We got turn 0 stuff. We got one card combo stuff. So would you need what, 2 cards? And then you need to fill your extra deck up with effects. And it's just not, it wouldn't be good, competitively speaking. If we want to be really, really honest, I guess we should say. It would be too slow. I guess, normal summon a yummy monster, go full combo, versus out of a hand of 5, -2 to possibly summon 1, and then normal summon the other, and then it gets negated or gets destroyed or shuffled back, whatever. That rule would basically just be for the people who liked or like Pendulum Summoning or fans of Pendulum Summoning. I don't think that rule hinders the Synchro player, the Fusion player, the XE player, the Link player. It just frees Links from their... it frees Pendulums from their Link cage, basically. Link monsters, you must first Link summon into the extra monster zone, and then you can only Link summon again to whatever zone the Link monsters point to. I think that's what the Link monster should stay at. I don't think at any point ever a Link monster should be Link summoned onto the main monster zone like the Synchros or XEs, because that's what the points are for. That's the point of the point. That's kind of funny. But that's the whole point. If you take away that part of it, it loses the whole like reason why it's a Link monster. Pendulums get freed from their curse. Yeah, you could go ahead and Pendulum summon monsters all on the main monster zones, and since they come from the extra deck, the extra monster zone. So that's even more Pendulum monsters. You can just bring out at least one extra, right? Toss them a little bone, and I think that's about it. The zones on the side would stay. That was an idea of taking away the EMZ for non-Link decks, basically, because if they do the Pendulum stuff, then you know what I mean. But I think we should keep the EMZ zones. Maybe this is just because I play Synchron / Stardust, and I like putting Speeder on the EMZ zone. But either way, also, hey, I forgot. some some cards would take a hit, like Fortress Dragon. I think that's what it is. It's one Cyber Dragon plus one monster in the EMZ. So that would only be good against Link monsters, and you know what I mean. So we should just keep the extra monster zone as like another free space for XC decks, Synchro decks, Fusion decks, and pendulums. You could spit out all 5 monsters again. You don't need a Link for that. And then if you had a 6-1, place it in the EMZ. I think that's fine too. It'd be funny if like you don't do that, but I think if they're gonna change it, just go full ham with it. Just change it fully. And I think that's really it. But there is one last change I would like for Master Rule 6 to have. It's a very interesting one. You should be able to, if you want, to also play ritual monsters in the extra deck. Yes, they will count towards the 15 in the extra deck. It's not like you get an extra space or anything. So I'm going to put 5 synchros, 5 fusions, and then 5 rituals in my extra deck. And now, ritual, like if they have the ritual icon inherently, so like I said, since this is messing with the master rules, inherently, ritual, if it has a ritual icon on it, that means you could summon it from the extra deck, just inherently. So you activate Blackluster Ritual, you can tribute 2 monsters from your hand that exceed the level, and bring out from the extra deck, like a fusion summon, a ritual monster. Now, we're not going to get confused. I said you can also put ritual monsters in the extra deck. This means that it's a choice that you make. Rituals can live in the extra deck, and they can live in the main deck. So, if you have one extra deck monster being the original BLS, and then you have one ritual monster being, let's say, Chaos Max, right? And your opponent has a floodgate, and it's like you can't special summon from the extra deck. Well, you can still go ahead, activate the ritual spell, and then summon out the Chaos Max from your hand. Even though you may not be able to summon out the Chaos Soldier, the BLS from your extra deck. However, I don't know how that would work with card rulings, or maybe we should just keep rituals in the main deck. One last thing I wanted to add was actually if a pendulum monster gets put into the pendulum zones by like a stake eye card effect, it should be able to be activated.